Sorry, I just had to do a little soul searching. But we're going to go ahead and just jump right into this game. So either way, this is White Ra spawning at the bottom left, and we saw a lot about this Void Ray stuff in the last game, or excuse me, in the first game. In the last game, we saw how that early aggression can give Protosses a lot of trouble. So I want to speed this up and show you, again, how similar of an idea that White Ra is using throughout this, which is Void Rays distract and force you to make more Marines. And then you can abuse this with Dark Templar and Zealots with legs. Very, very easy. Yep, look, here's the refinery going down. Oh, here's a little probe harassed by White Ra. And what is Galvan going to do? He's going to do the exact same thing that Maro did in the previous game. Looks like a Marine's being made. No, there's a very, very fast tech lab. Tries to kill off the probe. White Ra doing a similar opening to last game. Getting the Cybernetics core up. Getting the Assimilator up. Very, 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 very early. So this is good. And then what we are going to see is, in just a minute, what is going to go down. Oh, looks like there's a Zealot first. That's a little bit of a change from the Stalker. Oh yeah, by the way, this is an increasingly popular move that players have been doing, getting a Stalker up, or excuse me, getting a Zealot up while the Cybernetics core is building. That's always an excellent, excellent, excellent move, because you can get the Stalker out anyways, and it lets you deal with these Marauder things a little bit more easily. The Marauders are still very, very, very strong and very threatening early on, so you have to be very careful. And here's a Stargate instead of more Warp Gates. So that's a really, really cool transition. So here come the Marauders. They're still scary. Look, running up here, killing off this Stalker. Oh, looks like one of them misfired. So it's going to have to back off a little bit, the Terran player, but he can still be aggressive. He can still pick off units. And look at how scary this looks from the Protoss point of view. The Zealots never really are going to get the chance to get up to these Marauders, unless, you know, Galvan gets a little bit distracted, but there he kills off one of the Zealots, and here comes another Zealot. White Ra, oh my god, having to bring probes. Notice how similar this feel is to the previous game. The idea of, oh, Terran being really aggressive with all this stuff. Oh god, White Ra trying to struggle to stay afloat. Real obnoxious stuff, bringing probes out. Will he get another Marauder? Hey, looks like he's going to get one, but still not the spot you want to be in. Here's a Void Ray. Chrono Boost going to go down on that Void Ray almost certainly in a moment. Yep, there it is. And here comes the Void Ray to save the day. Ah, yes, what a relief. So not only is White Ra not dead, but look back in Galvan's base. He has one reactor almost done. This is kind of similar to what we were seeing in Morrowind last game, these very fast reactors up, but all of a sudden a second reactor can't be made because Galvan needs to begin making Marines as fast as possible. And this one tech lab with Stim is like a huge vulnerability. And oh, this engineering bay. Yeah, the Ghost Academy is up. I mean, look just for a moment that Ghost Academy, 3 barracks, this is almost the exact look that Maro had in the last game, except with this Void Ray, there's all this panic to try to deal with the anti-air. By forcing your opponent to make anti-air, you can end up responding appropriately. And here's just an example of how potent the Void Ray harass can be. Easily target firing to kill off the Stim. That immediately means that Terran is not going to be able to do much for a long time. And this Void Ray was target firing that barracks a little bit too long. Probably could have taken out some more Marines, but either way, Galvan couldn't really engage until he had a decent number of Marines out. And in the meantime, what's White Ra doing? Same transition as against Maro. He is still just getting a Twilight Council up early. He's going to be getting a whole lot more Zealots. Now here comes the very delayed Warp Gate. But, oh, looks like 2 Void Rays coming out right now. And what are we seeing right here? It's a little bit of a change from that game against Maro on Metalopolis. The game against DeMusliM on Metalopolis. On that game against DeMusliM on Metalopolis, White Ra made 1 Void Ray, and that's pretty much all he did early on. But remember, the basic idea is freak him out with a bunch of Void Rays, so that way you can have all the time to force him to make Marines and to get a bunch of Zealots and Dark Templar up. That's the basic idea. So, if for some reason there's more vulnerability to abuse with more Void Rays, then you can make more Void Rays. How many? That's not important. Don't be one of those players who just goes, well, just tell me what to do. How many do I make? Tell me where to click. It's the idea of exploiting as many little vulnerabilities as possible. So where's White Ra going? to a vulnerable spot. And oh, look at this. Galvan making a 4th barracks. Exact response that DeMusliM did in that first game. Like, identical response. Oh, look, here's another vulnerability over here. We can kill this off. The Marines don't have stim, so that's a free depot over there. And in the meantime, White Ra, same old from what we saw against DeMusliM, just going to be getting a whole bunch of Speed Zealots up. And that's going to prove to be quite effective. So I'm going to, of course, speed this up a little bit, because this is a pretty short game. But yeah, look at all these turrets being made. Oh man, more tech labs than really should be constructed at this point. Not as many ghosts, because too much was being committed to these Marines early on. Look at all these Marines pulled back. Not only are these really not a very useful location for defending the base in general, but this is the farthest away location from White Ra's base. And there, look, Chrono Boosted Zealot leg speed, lots of Zealots, Dark Shrine upcoming. Very nice little tactic used by White Ra, and he is one of the few Protoss players who we've really seen abuse a lot of Void Ray action and a lot of Dark Shrine action. In almost all the games that I've casted of him, he gets one of these 2 units against Terran. Like, almost always. Very cool use of that. Too often players are obsessing a little bit with just these big, broad, standard mass armies to try to kill the opponent. And not enough with these cute armies that force their opponents down certain valleyways. So you might think I'm obsessed with ×3ing action, but look at this. I'm going to slow this down. Look at that perfect EMP. Getting tons of these Zealots. Only 3 weren't hit in that. And there goes another EMP. And look, trying to kite, but once another charge ends up getting available, they are all going to swarm around here again. These Stalkers are one of the big damage dealers of this whole thing. God, those Speed Zealots are just so good at pushing this back and back and back. And here are some more Zealots, and just as it was against DeMusliM, Dark Shrine looks like it's going to finish just in time. And oh yeah, by the way, what's been going on during that attack? Void Rays! This is so awesome! Exact same thing we saw against DeMusliM. So easy, so effective, so intuitive. It's like, well, if he's attacking me, then I guess his main's going to be really vulnerable. Look at this. 9 kills, 4 kills, 1 barracks already down, the add-ons done. And here comes some Dark Templar getting warped in. Dark Templar getting warped in the main for defense. I mean, really almost nothing that Galvan can even do about this. Such a simple transition. Someone might say, why not just skip the Zealots and go for Dark Templar? I don't have the best answer for that. You totally could. What I'm thinking is that if you skip all the Zealots and go for the Dark Templar too quickly, you end up with just like not a good core army. Because it feels a little flimsy if they can just scan once and you end up losing, then that kind of sucks. So I really think that the Speed Zealots are really effective against a wide variety of things. The Dark Templar are mainly effective against Marines and if you get them into the mineral lines, but Zealots are effective against pretty much all gateway units as long as they have speed. So we're going to take a look at one last game to see ways that White Ra deals with a little bit of variety with this build. And again, coming right back here, let's... oh yeah, it's very hard to open up a replay when you have Starcraft 2 still loaded. So closed, bam, loading it right on up. So, coming right back here, let us see here. It is loading, load. So, okay, we have our basic core idea. We've seen it in 2 different circumstances. Where our opponent is getting a whole bunch of barracks units trying to be aggressive. No matter what he's really trying to do, this Void Ray is going to screw him up quite a bit. And we're going to see a completely different opening that White Ra plays against in this circumstance. This is White Ra spawning up here. This is Q-Tips as the Terran pieces. We're actually going to watch this whole game. It has a super epic finish to it despite being a little bit shorter than usual. And it's kind of funny how many similarities happen between this game and the last 3. In this game, it's going to be Q-Tips going for an early expansion. In the last 3 games, it's going to be a lot of early aggression from the Terran. And they still end in an almost identical fashion. So, pretty typical opening from both players. Both players just getting gateway, gas, next structure, tech structure, barracks, gas, tech structure. Here's the tech lab coming out. Here's a Marauder going down. Now, I just want to point out how awesome this build is by Q-Tips. This is actually almost identical to the style that I play against Protosses with, or at least one of them. And White Raw's going to be doing the same thing. He's still just going to be going for the very fast Void Ray. Nothing too special there. Well, I mean, it is very, very, very special. But it's the same thing that we've seen in the last several games. So he's going to be getting these Marauders out. Yeah, and notice, uh-oh, some guys have been taken out of gas. A mistake? Goodness no. Q-Tips is too good for that. I don't actually know who Q-Tips is, but clearly Q-Tips is too good for that. I think this is too early of a supply depot, but I will speed this up nonetheless. What are we going to see? Here's the third Marauder. Bam! There's the command center going down. Just